Guys, so we're here at Renegade Monkey and we're going to film a few things. I have the amazing Rangi here, superstar, dancing superstar. And yeah, so today we are going to work on the crow pose. And yeah, let's get right into it. So the first thing we want to work on is how we place our hands. So, okay, Rangi, will you join me on the mat? Okay, so the first thing that we need to work on is we want to place our hands on the mat. You can place it over there. And then we want to spread our fingers really wide apart. Once we have our fingers really spread wide apart, we want to push into the base of underneath our knuckles, and we want to push into the base of our palms, right? And then from here, what you want to do is you want to pull your fingers in towards you as hard as you can. Now, once she pulls it in, you can see little tunnels forming under her fingers. Now, if I was to pull them up, I shouldn't be able to. Okay, so push them down, and then if I pull them up, it's very good. Okay, now if the first knuckle starts to lift up, you don't want that. Like, that's a usual reaction to when you pull your fingers in and when you get starting out. And that's okay for the first couple of months, but the more you actually think about pushing this knuckle down, the easier and more stable any arm balance becomes. Okay, now as you can see, Rangi's knuckle is completely down. That's because she's already a pro.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Okay, so perfect. Now that we have the base of our palm securely placed on the mat, we can work on our stance. So Rangi, if you can stand up. So initially when we get into our crow, and I'll demo it first and then we'll work on it with you. So initially when we do our crow, what we want to do is want to have our toes together with a slight space in between our feet. Once we have that, we're going to squat down with our knees going out to the side. Now, if this is challenging for you, you can always start with your feet hip distance apart, right? The traditional way is with your toes together, so I'm just going to do it that way. It doesn't really make a difference if you do it with your feet apart or with your toes together. It just looks nicer with your toes together. Okay? So you send it out to the side, knees out to the side, and then you want to bring your torso into your legs as much as you can. Once you have that, you then want to push your knees into the outside of your elbows, right? Not elbows, outside of your shoulders. Once you have that really pushing in, you can place your hands onto the mat. Now, if your knee doesn't reach your shoulder and your knee reaches your tricep, then you don't want to push it in too much, because then are going to go in and you're not going to be able to balance. So if that is the case, you don't want to bring your knees in. All you want to do is have your knees in a static position, right? Not pushing in, not going out. But if you can squeeze your torso in towards your legs, perfect. So squeeze your knees into your shoulders, place your hands on the mat, grip the mat just like we said before. Then you want to come up high onto your tiptoes and you want to go forward with one leg. Once you go forward with one leg, you want to bring the toe into your butt. From here, you want to keep reaching forward and your gaze is beyond your mat. Once you keep reaching forward and shifting the weight forward, this other foot will start to float off the mat. Once it floats off the mat, you want to bring that heel in towards your butt. Push into the base of your palm. And then once you have your crow, you can bring your toes down to the mat and slowly sit back. Now,
So easy.
so the most important thing with any arm balance is the transfer of weight, right? Just like we were talking about before, the more you have the center of your mass above your hands, the easier it is for you to balance, right? So we're not thinking about bringing our leg in or lifting our legs off the mat. What we're doing is we're transferring our weight into our fingers, into our hands, until our feet start to float off the mat. Once it floats off the mat, we bring it into our butt. Cool? Okay. Now it's her turn. Okay? Okay. So,
Okay.
toes together, squat down. Perfect. Okay, bring your torso into your legs. Perfect. Squeeze your legs into your shoulders. Now, as you can see, Rangi's knees reach her shoulders. So she doesn't have an issue. She can squeeze them in as much as she wants. Now, for instance, if her knees were over here, she's not going to squeeze them in. What she's going to do is she's going to keep them in a static position. Okay, now her hands are on the mat, and then once her hands are on the mat, she's going to spread her fingers wide apart and grip them in. Now she has little tunnels underneath her fingers. The base of her knuckle is on the mat. And she's going to bring her elbows in. Perfect. She's going to come up high onto her tiptoes. Okay, perfect. She's going to look ahead. She's going to bring her torso forward until one foot comes off the mat. Perfect. The heel is towards her butt. Now she's going to bring her torso more towards the front until the other toe floats off the mat. Perfect. Heel into the butt. Keep coming forward. No problem. That's perfect. Okay, so one thing that happened there is you're not coming forward enough.
Yeah.
Now this is just because everyone's afraid to fall. Even when I started, I was dead afraid to fall. You know,
Afraid
this
I'll break my nose.
exactly. Me too. I have this pretty face. You know. Okay, so one thing we have to realize is this is where our fingers come into play. The more you have your fingers digging into the mat, they act as your brake. For instance, if I'm in my crow and I'm falling forward, all I have to do is push into my fingers and I go back. So I'm going forward, push into fingers, go back. Yeah? So don't worry too much about falling forward. A few falls in the face is to be expected. Okay? And I'm not going to let you forward. So even if you do fall forward, you're going to fall into my hands.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So the next focus is to try to make you fall. Okay? If you're not falling forward, you're not going forward enough. Right? Okay. So tiptoes, elbows in. Perfect. Keep looking at my toe. Beautiful feet.
Yeah.
Okay, keep coming forward. Wait until that foot lifts off the mat. Keep coming forward until it lifts off. Perfect. Now bring it in. 3, 2, 1. Perfect. See?
bad.
Well done. Okay.
I felt like I was going down.
No, you were going back. Yeah? So now when you have your crow for the first second, you start to freak out thinking, oh, I'm not going to be able to hold it.
Yeah.
And you start to pull back.
Yeah.
That's not what you want to do. You have to trust your fingers. Yeah, your fingers may not seem like much, but they are very effective in preventing you from falling. Right? So
I
again,
felt like one of those deflated balloons.
like those things that. Okay. Anyway. Okay, so we're going to do that again.
Okay.
Right? And you're going to try to hold it for 5 seconds, and you're going to try to not go backwards. Okay? So if you're falling, if you're coming out of it, I want you to come forward. I want you to fall forward. I'm not going to let you fall.
I know
Okay?
that. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, keep coming forward. Good. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Amazing.
Hey, not bad.
See?
Yeah.
Okay, and that's basically how you do your crow. So a few things to keep in mind. You want to grip the mat as hard as you can. Trust your fingers. You're not trying to lift your legs up. What you're trying to do is you're trying to shift your weight forward. You're trying to shift the center of your mass over your hands so your feet float up.
I can't believe I did that.
Exactly. Once your feet float up, you then bring them into the place that you want them to be. Yeah? You're not trying to just lift your feet up because they're not just going to magically start to float up. Yeah? You need to shift the weight of your body forward. And that's basically the tutorial for your crow. Okay, catch you guys in the next one.